man had a dream about me, and God moved me into the second phase of this. In the dream, he said, Dutch, you were a boxer. And he said, you boxed 5 giants. And when I finished that, I walked out of the ring and I walked up to this young man and I held up my 2 fists and I said, if you're gonna take out the giants in this season, you're gonna have to wear these 2 gloves. He said, in the dream, I held up those gloves and one of them had the word Everlast on it and the other one had the word Evergreen. Well, I knew what Everlast meant. I knew with the revelation God was trying to give me that we would have to walk in to take out the giants that ruled our nation and even the nations, because I'd been studying the life of Abraham. And it was in Genesis 21:33 that Abraham called on the everlasting God for the first time. And just to make a very long story shorter, the evergreen speaks of eternal covenant. I found out later that when Abraham called on Everlast, he also planted, in the very same verse, it says he planted a tree. I knew he planted that tree and read the verse many times. I just didn't know that a tamarisk tree was an evergreen tree. Abraham wore both gloves. His faith was not in his own ability. It was in the ability of everlasting God. And he was in covenant with the everlasting God. And he wanted the world and his sons and daughters and his grandchildren to know, I am walking in covenant with a covenant-keeping, everlasting God who will always do what he said he would do. And scholars told me as I studied the tamarisk tree, it's a slow-growing tree, but it lives a long, long time. No one will ever plant a tamarisk tree, they said, for his or herself, because they would never reap the benefits of that tree. When Abraham planted this particular evergreen, he was planting it for his children and grandchildren, so they would walk in the synergy of the ages. And he was saying to them, you will sit under the shade of my covenant with God.